Hi Libra, this is Amanda Nardozzi. Thanks for hopping into my little ferret den here. Keeping it warm as always, keeping it cozy. Today's reading is going to be for the new moon in Pisces on March 10th, 2024. This one in particular, so when I do these bi-weekly readings, I read the energy of the around the new moon or the full moon, and then that's going to be the most potent either on or a few days before or a few days after the new moon. It's usually like a 3-day span within that time frame. Or within that new moon or full moon period, and then that cycle continues on for the next 2 weeks. So this reading is going to be most potent around the new moon time, and then for the next 2 weeks. For the next 2 weeks until the full moon, until I read for your sign again. So whether you're sun, moon, or rising Libra, welcome. However you connect with the Libra sign, it doesn't necessarily have to be in your big three. However you feel drawn to the reading, this could be for you. But as always, I recommend that you call in your angels, you call in your guides, you call in your spirit team. I will be doing the same to help connect you to the highest messages meant for you, so that way you can discern what's for you and what's for others. So when I channel, I talk very, very fast. So if you got to slow me down, feel free to do that. I think there's like a playback speed option on there, because once I channel, like if I don't say it, it's gone. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to pull Celtic Cross first. So I'm going to pull some Oracle cards, and then I'm going to roll some dice for you, and then be on your way. So thank you, angels. Thank you, Archangel Michael, for casting your light of protection around me. Thank you, spirit guides and angel team, for helping me connect with the energy of Libra, the collective energy of Libra. First things first, we're going to start with your astro dice. We're going to read from there. You have Sun, Pisces, and second house. So the second house, I typically read for finances. That's usually our finance house. It's also the house of our inner values. Pisces is a psychic and intuitive sign. That's the energy that this new moon carries, which is funny because it's new moon in Pisces. Whoop, whoop. You also have creation, sun. Sun is the creation, how we identify with ourselves. For you, I see money-making potential. I see creation, things that you're creating, making money, which is interesting because, gosh, oh my goodness. So the fact that this is reflected in your finance house, like some of you could be having financial concerns right now, I'm seeing. Some of you are just worried about concerns, and it doesn't really have anything to do with your creation, but it's almost like I want to manifest more money or I want to create more money. This is more of a finance reading. It's funny because, gosh, what was it? The sign that I just did, Gemini. See, once it's in, it's out. Like, Gemini had like a similar message, but it was more like what they wanted to create could create earning potential. For you, I feel like it's more of a finance reading. It's more of like, you know, the things that I want to create. It's like your ability to make more money or harness more money. Okay, and the Pisces is a very like daydreamy, up in the clouds, but the very psychic and very intuitive. Very mediumistic sign. So the way that I'm reading this, the area of life that we're specifically going to focus on is the material, how you're making finances, and then we'll shoot from there. Spirit's like, just straight shot this message because it's going to come quick. You have the Seven of Wands as your situation. So Seven of Wands being guarded. Some of you are partying too much. That's where your money's going. For some of you who don't want to go to parties, or like maybe your friends host a lot of parties and you don't want to go because, I don't know, maybe you're somebody who, like, maybe it's like when you're going out, they're spending a lot of money and you don't want to spend a lot of money, so you've been keeping that close. But there's almost this energy of like wanting to protect, wanting to defend, wanting to be on the defensive with that and like conserve what you have. The challenge here is just balance. I feel like you can go out and have fun every once in a while, but there is an issue here with balance of trying to figure. I just heard like work-life balance. Spirit wants you to do more of what makes you happy because you're not doing enough of what makes you happy. They're like, you need to do what makes you happy. You need to do more of what makes you happy. I know it's challenging because sometimes what makes us happy is spending finances or spending our money. It doesn't necessarily have to be that way, but I'm hearing there's a light at the tunnel for some of you in terms of your money-making potential. What's coming up from within is you want things to be more even. The Six of Pentacles is about even exchange. You want those scales to be balanced. I heard that they have not been tipping in your favor, but they will tip in your favor, but it depends on what it is that you want to create or what it is, like however you bring these new finances in. Call it in. For some of you, you actually have to do the work. Like in terms of, we all have to do the work, but specifically I'm seeing like a 3, 6, 9, type of manifestation ritual. Some of you need an actual ritual to help bring that energy in. And it's not just doing that. You need to physically do the thing too to help. But if you want to aid a little bit on the energy side and help the opportunities come to you a little bit sooner, for whatever reason, I'm getting the 369 method. I'm not exactly sure how to do that. You'll have to look up the 369 method. It's just coming to mind. But writing something 3 times and writing something 6 times and writing it 9 times. It's more of like affirmations. It is like repeating the goal back to yourself, or the thing that you want to manifest of what it is that you have, or the thing that you want to have. You just phrase it in a way of, I have this, or I have achieved this. So figure out how to do that, because that, for whatever reason, that ritual is very important. And then I'm just seeing money, something in relation to money. So start doing your money spell, start calling that stuff in with your affirmations. In the past, the Magician. So your recent past, the Magician, having a lot of materials, having a lot of energy and resources at your disposal for what it is that you want to create. So I feel like however you're bringing in money, however you want to harness it, you had ideas before. Some of you are sitting on it. You're not acting on it. So that's a problem. Spirit's like, you got to get on it. And they're like, move your feet. And like, it's okay to move your feet and lose your seat, because that seat is not meant for you right now anyway. It is time to move along. It is time to keep going. It is time to actually harness this energy. This energy is still potent. I feel like some of you might feel restless because there might have been a time where you felt the energy, you felt the passion, you felt the drive. You might not have acted on it in a way that you wanted to, so you might not have gone as hardcore as you wanted to in terms of creating this thing, in terms of bringing it into your life. And it's more of like, or maybe you tried, or you funneled some energy, you didn't see results, and then it kind of fizzled out a little bit. But that energy is still present. You might not feel it as powerfully, but that energy is still around for you to harness. So just keep in mind that you still have Magician energy. The fact that it's present at all in the spread, Magician is very, very powerful. Okay, when the Magician energy is present, there are so many moving pieces around you. It's actually hard for me to read the energy and figure out, because there are just so many moving pieces. There's so much that can be created. There's so many different directions to go, and it's usually like an amazing thing. I find that like those are the best readings, because there's like, I read for somebody where that was like that, where she had the Magician and her energy was just like, she had all these moving pieces around her, but she felt so confident and so good about where she was going. And I was like, yes, 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 yes. That's where you want to be, because that's so fun. You're trusting that Spirit's going to deliver. And not only is Spirit going to deliver, but you're trusting in yourself that you can bring what you say you can bring to the table. You're showing up for yourself. And I think that's a big thing here in this reading, is that maybe you didn't show up in the way that you wanted to. But for whatever reason, Spirit's telling me you weren't able to show up for yourself, because some of you are working too hard in other areas of your life. And there's that balance issue again of not being able to direct your energy into the thing that you want to manifest. Like, it could be a little bit challenging to generate money the way that you want to generate it, because you're focused on generating it in building up your security, of course, because like you want to be secure in your finances. So maybe some of you have a full-time job, but you don't really want to do that full-time job. You want to do like your side gig, which, like, some of you could be freelancers or whatever, and you're like, well, I want to start doing this full time. But because you've been investing so much energy, maybe you have families to take care of, maybe you're, Spirit's like, you're judging yourself too harshly. I might have said this at the beginning too, but there's too much judgment. You're not having enough compassion for yourself, because this balance is incredibly hard. I say balance is a myth, but balance is still it's still important. Like, that downtime, that time for yourself is still incredibly important, because that's going to be when ideas flow. That's having downtime is productivity. My friend phrased this to me the other day, just like that. She was like, you need to indulge. Like, because I like to play video games, and there's always a part of me that feels like I'm wasting my time when I play video games, because I'm like, well, I could be working. I could be, and it's very tough when like you're running your own business and you're like, I want to keep putting out readings, and I want to like keep making videos, and I want to go out and like, I want to find other opportunities in my city to keep going around and like, showing this off and trying to make something of it. And, when I'm playing video games, it's almost like, well, like, that's time that I could be doing other things. But I was excited to play video games, so there was no regret. But there was also that feeling of, but time. But that, when you have that downtime, whether you're playing games, whether you're knitting or crocheting, whether you're watching TV, like, you're still letting those ideas flow. If it lights you up, if you're craving that time to do those things because you need that rest, let yourself have that rest, because that's when ideas come to you, or that's when you freshen yourself up so that you can easily receive those ideas later. So that's okay to rest. It's okay to do those things. You need to slow down on that part and just listen to your body and be like, what is it that I want to do right now? If you're restless, sometimes it's okay to go to overwork and to go hard 24/7 and be like, nope, you know what? I'm cutting into sleep. Give me a latte at 7 p.m. We're getting into it. And because maybe that's the, like, just for your own sake, for your own personal balance, for you to feel good. Okay, sometimes it's okay to put that pedal to the metal. And it's like, sometimes we stop ourselves because we're like, oh no, I don't want to overwork myself. I don't want to burn myself out and then not touch this for 2 weeks. Like, I want to make sure I'm doing this right. There's no right or wrong way to do it. I've had moments like that where I grabbed a latte or a coffee at 7 or 8 p.m. because I was so frustrated and restless because I felt like I was focusing on everything else but the thing that I wanted to work on. And I just sat down and I worked on it. And I felt so good after. I got very little sleep. Yeah. And then I had to rebalance after. But that was a hit that I was willing to take because I wanted to, just because I wanted to feel that balance within myself. And then I did upset the physical balance, but I fixed it after. So it's okay to be a messy human being here. Okay. So moving on in the spread, you have the Fool as the focus. So where your mental energy, where your energy is going is embracing optimism, heading towards the future, into this new beginning. You're focusing on creating this new beginning. It's almost like, how do I cultivate this? How do I call it into existence? And it's almost like you know what you want to do, but it's like, what steps can I take? There are treasures waiting for you on this path. And just trust that those treasures are there. You know that they're there. Your intuition is telling you that those treasures are there, but don't let doubts prevent you from seeing or believing that there are treasures there, because that would slow you down and help, like, make you question whether this is the path for you. But no, your intuition is telling you, stick with that. Don't waver in that, because you are on the right path with this new beginning that you want to create. In your recent future, you have the Knight of Wands that is rushing forward. I say that the Knight of Wands and the Knight of Swords are the two fastest knights in the tarot. They are hardcore. This one's driven by will, passion, creativity. He's very direct in where he is going and what he is wanting. So exactly that, what you're doing is flaring up your passion and you're charging straight first into it, and just living it up. But there's a lot of confusion right now. So you have the Moon in the You section of this reading. Now, Libra. The Moon is a crazy card. The Moon is a confusing card. It's all about sitting in that confusion. On the one side, you have strong intuition, but on the other side of the Moon, there is a lot of confusion. Things are not always as they appear. Things aren't always as they seem with the Moon card. So your outward situation might not directly reflect what's going on within, and that's okay. You can know things without seeing the evidence of it in real life. This is where trust comes in. I just heard, I keep hearing this fear. It actually feels like a fear coming up of I will fall, I will fail, I will fall, I will fall, I will fall. Spirit's like, trust us. This is a trust fall exercise, whatever it is that you're doing. They want you to take this leap. They want you to step into this new beginning. That Fool looks like he's falling off the ledge, or looks like he's about to walk off the ledge. Spirit says, take that leap. Take that leap, because it is a little scary, but trusting that and trusting your intuition, because you know you want to take that leap. It's just a matter of, I don't see the steps ahead to get there. And Spirit's saying, trust us. Just take the leap. Do what you have to do. It doesn't have to be perfect. It can be messy. Just take that leap and allow yourself to fall off the ledge for a minute. Take that leap. And then see what happens. See what comes of it. In your environment, you have the Queen of Wands. The Queen of Wands, and again, there's heavy pentacles and heavy wands in this spread. We have some more pentacles coming up here in a second, but the Queen of Wands in your environment tells me you're a sexy badass. And the Queen of Wands is the confidence card. She carves out her own space in her kingdom and she says, this is mine. She works with her, again, there's a rituals thing that's coming to mind, because the black cat in the tarot is Spirit's pointing that out to me and saying, mention the superstition, or mention the rituals and the occult. So you could be very in tune with that. You could be a little witchy yourself and work with herbs. So calling in, using those manifesting practices, because there's something about increasing your confidence and increasing your magical energy by doing those rituals. You don't need them, of course, but it is a physical representation of amping up our own energy, things that we're doing within. I love having physical markers for the things that are happening within. Having symbolic things in the physical help magnify things that we feel, because we are in a physical space, in a physical world, and it just feels nice to do some of those things sometimes, right? So the Queen of Wands, doing those things can help enhance your faith, enhance your belief in yourself, enhance your faith in the universe of like, okay, like at least when you're starting out, before you get that confidence to gain a little bit more trust and faith in the universe helping you and like co-creating with you, those rituals can be a big help. And also just, I don't know, I just see an increase in confidence with that. You have the 10 of Pentacles here, the 10 of Pentacles, and your hopes and your fears. So you have a hope, obviously, of leaving like this legacy, even if you don't, like if you decide not to have kids, or even if you do have kids, there's something about leaving something for the next generation to look upon. So whether it be like writing a book, whether it be leaving videos for people to look at long after you're gone, whether it be creating like a community or something, creating a community or creating like values in a community and then allowing those to be passed on through the generations. There's something here about creating that generational thing that affects the world even after you're gone. And there's also something about creating generational wealth for yourself and for like family if you choose to like continue your line. But there's something about that generational wealth, wanting that, but also fearing that you're not going to get that. This card comes with a sense of community as well. So building your own community is something that some of you may want or desire in relation to your creation. So keeping that in mind, that is something we hope for. I see you actually moving in that direction too, because your outcome is the Queen of Pentacles. The Queen of Pentacles, you just have to nurture it. You just have to grow it. The Queen of Pentacles, that's so funny. That's so interesting because like spirits, the way that spirit is coming through is saying like she knows her place, but it's not in a stereotypical way of, oh, a woman knows her place in the house. Oh, a man knows his duties to the family. Like that's, it doesn't sound like that to me. It sounds like you know your place as in you know your role in the world. You know you were meant to shine. You know you were meant to do this specific thing. You know the direction that you're going in, and it's almost like spirit's just asking you to harness that, nurture those talents, because the Pentacles is about the material world. I assign skills and spirituality to the Pentacles as well, because it's just things that we work with in the physical. It's our talents. And spirits, like, you know, nurturing those talents can help bring about more luscious resources for you. So nurturing those talents and employing them in the world, again, it's just taking that step. I feel like for a lot of you, it's just that putting in the effort, putting in the energy, and then just allowing patience for that to grow. But it's wanting that equal exchange and really just getting your feet off the ground with it, because some of you have kind of had your head up in the clouds with it for a while and haven't really been acting on it as much as you wanted to. And again, that had a place. Maybe you weren't ready for it. Maybe you just didn't have the energy for it. But now I see you, especially with this Knight of Wands, that energy of motivation and creation. Like when you're creating, that energy of motivation comes like later. Like sometimes people act on their inspiration and they do enough to where they gain momentum and they're like, holy cow, like I love this, let's keep going. And then they build momentum and motivation that way, because you see yourself creating, you see yourself building a community in the world, you see results. Okay. But some of us aren't, like, you know, our paths all look different. So, I bit my tongue. Ooh, sorry. Our paths are all different. So sometimes it might not look as successful. It might not be as successful right off the bat. And we might lose momentum, and then we wait for that feeling to strike again. But a lot of times the act of creating and keep on creating helps generate more of that. It generates more of that motivation. It generates more of that energy. And once we see results and we keep pushing that way, that's where that motivation comes in for a lot of us. So keep pushing, sometimes even if you don't feel like it, and you will eventually see results and you'll start feeling that motivation to continue. For some oracle cards we have for you, we have Chaos and Conflict, so 33. Chaos and Conflict is a card of transition. You can see this zebra is losing his stripes and gaining giraffe spots, and it doesn't seem to make sense. The rest of the world says, what is going on? Like, what the fuck? Excuse my language, but they're like, what the fuck? You're supposed to be a zebra. You're supposed to have stripes. Other people think that you might have a place in a certain thing. Other people might view you in a certain way, but you're like, no, I refuse to acknowledge that. I refuse to fit into that role. I'm fitting in my own role because I know where I'm meant to be. I know where I'm at and I know where I'm going. But there could be that dissonance of feeling like you're in a place where you don't belong because you are actively pursuing this thing, because you are creating something and you are changing as a person. The rest of your environment just has to catch up. The rest of the world, the rest of your energy around you just has to catch up. Don't be afraid of getting ahead of that energy. Just know that when you hone that energy and when you own your spots and lose your stripes, in this particular case, in this card, owning your spots and losing your stripes, just understand that that the terrain will follow, because you'll eventually, like, once you're on that vibration, the rest of, like, the external world will start to reflect what's going on inside, because you'll start being a magnet for things that do align closely with you. It might be a little rocky at first. You have the fates, so that's there are going to be some things that you can't control. There are going to be some external things that really bug you, but they're necessary shifts. Spirit is saying there are necessary shifts that have to happen in your life, and they're going to be uncomfortable. And this is the card that's like they're speaking through me to, of like, there are going to be some necessary shifts. Some stuff's going to have to go. Some stuff might have to stay for a little while, and that's okay. I literally see somebody who's like trying very hard not to hurl. They're like, oh my God, like, but you have to stomach it a little bit longer. If you can like get rid of those things, if you can drop it, like that'll be great. But Spirit's like, sometimes you just have to wait for the sickness to pass. Sometimes you have to wait until something better comes along. So like, for example, if you're stuck in a job that you hate and you need that financial stability, some of you might have to sit through that stomach ache until you find something else, or until Spirit, until you work up enough momentum to leave and go into whatever it is that you're doing. Okay. So having that stomach ache basically. But that being said, there are going to be some things that are out of your control, and that's going to be fine. It's just, again, necessary shifts, necessary changes that are just going to have to be made. That's not on you. It's all a divine timing thing. I always say divine timing is none of our business. That's all Spirit's business. You just focus on taking one step in front of the other, and Spirit takes care of the rest. Just trust that as you get more aligned, that you are a magnet for better things coming. Okay. And it's just trusting Spirit and being like, okay, like as I'm creating and as I am actively as I am actively moving towards making this a reality, Spirit is going to be responding to me, and they're going to be eventually lining things up to give me opportunities so that I can go into this new life. Okay. Again, it's your passion. It's a passion project. You're moving towards your passion. So of course, as you do that over time, it's like you're going to feel more aligned, and you're going to fall into that like magical energy stream where things just start happening and synchronicities start happening. You have signs and reminders. So you're going to have signs, you're going to have reminders of all that you're doing, and you're going to be like, well, hot dang, I think I can do this. I always say that the more we are aligned, the more signs and synchronicities we see. So if you have your food in many different frying pans, for example, and then you're finding that there are more synchronicities with cooking the salmon rather than cooking the vegetables, you might want to focus more on cooking the salmon, because that's where you're like, if that's where all the signs and synchronicities are, that's something that you've manifested. If that's the direction you feel like going, like it sings to your soul, it brings you up a little bit more. So focusing on that, focusing on the signs, and noticing that Spirit does have your back, and it's just a reminder that they're there and that they're helping you manifest what you want. Also expecting miracles. So again, trusting that Spirit's going to be there. We're getting to that point in the reading where I'm pulling cards and Spirit's like, I said what I said and I meant it. Expecting, like allowing for room for those miracles to come in. And I'm hearing actually Spirit's calling you sweetheart. They're like, sweetheart, we got you. We got this. Like, you are deserving of all of these extra little tokens of love and appreciation that are coming your way, like extra opportunities, extra love, especially in relation to like finances. Like I'm talking like tiny miracles, like finding a $20 bill floating in the breeze or something. And there's nobody around, there's nobody to give it to. It's literally just, it's for you, and I'm seeing miracles, like opportunities that are coming in that just almost seem aligned. They seem perfect for you. And you're like, oh, hot diggity damn, that's where I need to be. Or like, this is wonderful. Like it might, obviously it's not all of your answers. It doesn't fix all your problems, but it's something that makes you feel good. It makes you like, oh my gosh, like, it's very funny how that works out. How I wished for a pen and I just happened to come across a pen on the ground as I am walking wherever to my destination is. Now I can because if you left, I don't know, the one time I left a pen at home and that happened to me and I was like, gosh, I wish I had a pen. And it was a miracle, because I literally 2 minutes later, I found a pen on the ground. So it was like in plain sight, and it was nice too. It wrote so nice, y'all. Let me tell you, I manifested like the perfect pen. I was like, oh. Anyway, I thought that was wild, but that was like the tiny miracle that I expected, that I was like, oh, that's lovely. And I love that. Lastly, for this card, and then we'll roll some dice for you, you have details. So focusing on the details, not getting too wrapped up in the details. Like you don't want to become obsessive over the details, because there is a point where you need to move on, Spirit is saying. But it is important to pay attention to the details. Like go over, make sure you don't miss anything. For some of you, I'm actually getting full on clerical work. Like if you're making a website or something, just going through and making sure all the details are correct before you post it. If some of you are doing like any types of writing, like I'm seeing some type of creation on the computer. So just going over it twice and making sure that you're paying due diligence to those things, just so that you're not coming across any silly errors. But there is like something in those details, like paying attention to those details and making sure that you're not skimping out. For example, if you are posting, spirits actually, like, they're like, this message is for you too, by the way, Amanda. So like, when I'm doing these readings, for example, there's always that thought in the back of my head of, maybe I should do thumbnails. Maybe I should like come up with like fancy titles. And sometimes I just don't feel like doing it. But those types of things are important when you're putting stuff out, right? And it's funny because like spirits, like, yeah, like those are the details that's going to help you, and those are the things that you need to take the time to do, even though you don't like it. Because sometimes it's fun and sometimes I just don't feel like it. I'm like, well, like, you know, it's like, I don't feel like getting creative with this title. But, you know, those are the types of details that, like, if you feel like you need to do it, again, do as I say, not as I do. Because, like, the message is from Spirit, not from me. And I hear you, Spirit. I'll get there. But they're basically saying, like, that's an example of, like, you need to take those steps. Because the steps are going to be important for your success down the road. Okay? So, that being said, let's roll some dice. I always pull from Angel Numbers by Kyle Gray. And I'm always going to read these messages twice. You have the number 25. Here's the book. Your angels want you to trust that all your hard work and commitment will pay off. Soon you will enjoy the fruits of your labor. One more time. Your angels want you to trust that all your hard work and commitment will pay off. Soon you will enjoy the fruits of your labor. So, that being said, let that be a message to ease your weary mind and your weary soul. So, thank you so much for tuning in, Libra. I hope this resonated with you in some way. If it did, go ahead, like and subscribe and all the things. That way you can keep up to date with me, what I'm doing, where I'm at, what's going on, what I'm posting, and all that other stuff. So, leave a comment down below, connect with me, let me share your story, let me know like what it is you're creating, what you're manifesting. I love the magician energy, and I love seeing how it applies to people's lives. That's like my most favorite part of the tarot. So, but other than that, I will see you in the next collective, or I'll see you in the next Libra reading. Bye. I love you, love you, love you.